What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video, another day, another dollar with your boy. We're going to be breaking down our futures contract, and we're going to be looking at AMD. As I have officially stopped out of that swing trade idea on the long side, and I have now flipped swing trade short. And I'll explain why here in just a second. Uh, Overall, today was not a terrible day for the buyers as far as ES goes, as far as the futures contract goes. Very positive results from the buyers. In yesterday's video, we discussed about how it was a quadruple distribution day to the upside, where we had several sets of single prints in between that led to us having multiple distributions. We had the lower distribution down here from 55.0450 all the way down to the day's low at 54.8975. Then we had the second distribution from 55.1525 down to 55.0950. A large set of single prints. Then the next distribution, which was 55.3475 to 55.2675. Then you had your upper distribution, which was from the day's high 55.61 down to 55.4425. And would you look at that? Look at where we consolidated for a majority of the day, creating an 11 wide point of control and a whole lot of chop on both the downside and the upside, faking people out left and right. Overall, choppy session, but positive for the buyers, as they did go and put a new all-time high on the day and on the year right here at 55.6225. That is the new all-time high, and then you so far printed a new all-time high in the after hours at that 62.75. So buyers are still in control here. Today we had a little bit of a pullback, struggled to battle the opening. Had a reversal bar and attempted to go trend down, dipping our toes into the set of single prints that we had here, right? We did have this set of single prints that started at 55.4425. That was acting as an area of support, right? Now, typically, if there was any type of major liquidation break or any volume or tempo on the downside, these would become targets to fill on the downside. But because we are in a bull market, and because dips have been bought in the past and it's worked, dips are being bought right now against areas that would seemingly be areas of support. All right. So in a down market, it's very easy to take back these trend days on the downside, or that we have on the upside, as a lot of times it's just some type of retracement. But for the downside, it's a little bit different. It takes a little bit more umph to get this market rolling over, and some scare or some fear in the market to really get some type of liquidation towards the downside and fill in the rest of these. So we end up with basically an inside day, very choppy session. I didn't trade a whole lot today as far as the ES goes, as far as SPY goes. I am in a SPY 544 put in the SPY, because I'm expecting us to roll over at some point and kind of take back a couple of these sets of single prints and back test this balance high back here at 55.18. And then in SPY, it's a little bit different. Let me bring up SPY. Nope, that's NQ. Bring up SPY real quick and just show you guys kind of my thesis here behind that. I know I'm kind of bouncing all over the place. That's how my brain works. But you see how a back test of this area right here, 544.12, back test of that area would bring you into this distribution right here. It would let me highlight, would bring you into that distribution right there from the trend day up that we had yesterday. So pull back to that area would be positive, and then it would also put the daily back into an initial 3-day balance, where we would use today's high as that the high of it, and then Monday's low as low of that balance, and we would hope to consolidate and pack in some volume between that area of 544 and the high up here at 548. So within a nice $5 range. That is kind of the hope there for the put, at least for me, because I'm kind of expecting. I've seen this market a few times, and now this market is very bullish and very, very positive. But I've seen this market several times where we do consolidate in the upper distribution, and it's very difficult to get going afterwards to the upside A lot of times we do end up taking back some of this trend day and cleaning up a lot of this uh, poor structure, as well as filling in the premium gap that we have on our daily chart. So would not hurt, would not be a negative thing to have a little bit of a pullback, and that is what I'm looking for today. But overall, not a bad day as far as my trading goes. Like I said, um, only trade I took today was actually a short on the push up here. See, I'm zooming this thing in pretty heavily here, but that's just to show you because the range was fairly small. But after we had pushed down and got a little bit of a rally on the way up, I decided to short against the day's high essentially, because I didn't end value high at the time because I was like, they're not going to run away if they go and push towards the highs. So I'll use the day's high as my out. 55, 58, 75 would have been my out. And on this push up here, I waited until the next time frame to kind of debate whether or not I was going to get in it. It just initially took out this time frame's high at 54.50. I got in at 55, and then I added on the way up 56, and then added even heavier at 57. Actually, it was 56.75 to be more specific because I did not catch the top. But I had about a 50 lot of MES on it, and I was targeting point of control down here. Now, point of control was at the time, before it became 55.53, it was at the time 55.50. All right, we were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wide down here, looking to get 6 wide down here on the way down. So that's more or less what I was looking for, a little bit of a rotation back into that point of control down here. That was the downside target. And not only was that the downside target at that time, where were we at? After this push up right here, yeah, this was where it was at. Look at the 1 minute, bring you guys to the 1 minute. So right here was where I was getting short. Not only was point of control right around that 55.50 level, but you also had the 144 simple moving average there, and you had VWAP there. All right, so I was looking more or less for this market to kind of use these highs right in here as a kind of a resistance area, right? You can see we were pushed up, and fell, pushed up here, was looking for it to kind of fell, and then I was using that high at 58.75 as my out to roll over and target that VWAP 144 area, which would have been an excellent long opportunity, because after you did push below that 144 simple moving average and dipped below that VWAP, resulted in a, after you reclaimed it, a very good long opportunity. And guess what? You did go set a new high on the day, as that was a beautiful trend up there. It was a great trade opportunity right there after the reclaim of VWAP. So that was a good entry for a long. I just didn't take. However, catching that short on the downside was very pretty, and that was the only trade of the day that I had. Resulted in about a $600 gain on the downside there, $600 plus gain on the downside, which was very positive nonetheless. So let's go over the destinations real quick, and then we'll go over AMD, kind of look at that real quick, and give you guys an update on what I'm trading and how I'm trading that. So here we are. Positive day for the buyers. Stayed within the upper distribution, but created a 11 wide point of control. So buyers and sellers were very happy doing business at this 53.25 level. Now, whether that's going to result in a bigger push to the upside, or maybe some liquidation by taking out today's low at 55.43.50. If we do that, then we'll obviously come back into an initial 3-day balance, and then you'll begin to take back some of these sets of single prints. And in my case, hopefully get to a back test of these highs right here around the 55.20 level. Fill the single prints down here at 55.15. That would be the ideal situation for me and my puts. But if we do take out, come Thursday, because remember the markets are pretty much closed tomorrow except for the futures. So Thursday when we open up, if we open up below 53.25 and take out the day's low at 43.50, will be not one time having down, but we'll be coming into an initial balance, and then we'll target these sets of single prints on the way down. 38.75 to 34.75, 26.75 down to 15.25, and that's where you would hope to find some type of buyers in between that 20 to 15.25. You would hope to find strong buying pressure come in there, as you would look for an initial bounce to rotate up. Now, if we open above 55, 53.25 and take out the day's high at 55.62.25, then the one-time framing obviously continues to grind higher. But one thing you want to have whenever you are in a trending market on the daily and on the weekly is getting good extension. Even on the shorter time frames, you want to have good extension. Like look on the short time frame, right? 30-minute time frames, how the trend was still very strong by presenting higher highs and getting distance above the previous time frames high. Same thing with your daily candles, right? Same thing with your daily, right? Yesterday's high was 55.61. We set a new high by a point, 1 point. We got above it by 1 point and rolled over pretty aggressively. So does that show that we are a strong trending market right now? Not really, but you gotta get buyers, they're due where it belongs, and they did stay in the upper distribution for the most part. So on Monday, we looked to open above 53.25, or Thursday, look to open above that 53.25, take out that 62.25, and get good extension above that high. If not, this market could be poised for a bit of a rollover and take back some of these sets of single prints and trade between some distributions, maybe between this 34.75 and 15.25 level would maybe be the next destination, or at least that's what I'm looking for. All right, so and then just briefly, let's look at the larger time frame, shall we? Let's look, even though we went over it yesterday, let's look at what the daily's doing. Here's that premium gap that I was discussing, right? I would like to see us at some point take back that premium gap. Not sure when that's going to happen, but at some point they will get filled. Not only that, we do have two gaps back to back. So gap up, consolidation, gap up, consolidation. At some point, these gaps will become targeted on the downside. You do have 53.63 as the 20-day moving average continues to creep up into that area. So maybe that will become a downside target at some point if we get any type of liquidation. 50-day moving average continues to creep up, 52.4766. Now, let's move on to AMD. Let's look at the weekly chart real quick. Now, there's going to be a lot of markings on this chart because I'm just kind of all over the place with it. So please ignore some of these markings. All right, so AMD took out that weekly balance low, 156.92. It reclaimed it yesterday, so I stayed into my call position. I was looking to stay long against this 156 as long as they held it and look for a rotation back up to 174.55, but they did not do such, okay? Technically, I guess you could say they've been one-time framing down 2 weeks in a row, but I wanted to give buyers their due and say 156 was the line in the sand. Now we are one-time framing down officially in my eyes, meaning we're setting lower highs and lower lows. All right. Now my next downside target for the weekly is going to be 48.78. All right. 48.78. I am short the 145 puts. I got out of the long position after we broke that 156.92 level and kind of stayed below it. I exited the position for a loss, immediately entered into puts because I figured why not give this thing a shot to the downside. And I had two contracts on. One was to initially target the gap fill down here at 153.48. We tagged that to the T. So on the daily chart, we go to our daily chart. Our daily chart had this gap right here that filled at 153.48, 153.49, and that was the target on the downside. And as you can see, it was for a lot of people because we got a little bit of an initial bounce off of that downside. Now, one thing that is concerning me about the, I should have taken it in the money, but I took two contracts, took one off at that 153.48 level. And then I am targeting the low down here at 148.78 as that is a weekly low, but we'll see if we get any more extension. And that is kind of what I am worried about right now. If you look at our daily chart, yesterday's low was 154.14, today's low 153.34. So we didn't get that much low. We didn't extend that by very much, right? You can see how we got pretty low here, right? About $2.74 here. not much. You got 75 cents on the downside after filling that gap. So tomorrow, I'm definitely looking to see if we get some more continuation to the downside. We go to our 30-minute time frame. Very positive for the most part. A little bit of a B shape for long liquidation. Like you said, like you see yesterday was a strong close. Got back above 156.92, so I was staying in that position. We got below it today, couldn't get back above it, had a weaker close. So with this weaker close, the question is, do we take out today's low and continue pushing down towards this next target of the afternoon pullback low, 151.90? And if we get that, your next destination is going to be 148.78. So I'm going to stay in this swing position short until we take out today's high of 140 or 157 157.24. We take out today's high 157.24. That will firmly stop the one-time framing down on our daily chart, and we'll come back into an initial balance at that point. So going to stay short until the market tells me otherwise, and right now it's telling me to stay short as this was a weak close and I'm targeting these 151.90s levels. Ideally, we open up on Thursday in this lower area here, stay below 154, find acceptance below 153.48. If we find acceptance below 153.48, we will target that 140 or 151.90. We get acceptance below that, there's literally nothing holding us up from 148.78. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Enjoy Juneteenth, and we'll catch you guys on Thursday. See you.